talk to you about whether or not you've ever questioned why you do the things that you do and how doing that questioning can make you more attractive. So, one of the things that I've noticed in my own life is that when it comes to the personality that we have, oftentimes what we think of as being personality traits are actually defense mechanisms. And the best example I can give to you of this is when I was a kid in school, I was bullied. And I was bullied pretty badly about a lot of things. So the way I got out of being bullied all the time was to make friends with a certain group of girls in my class. And those girls protected me from being bullied and, accepted me as their friend under two conditions. One, I used to always make a lot of sarcastic jokes and make them laugh. And two, I was smart. So because I was smart, I could help them with their homework. And, I did what I had to do to survive because you know how school is when you are a young kid. Like bullying is the worst. But this was something that I kept up as I got older. I started to feel like the only way people could like me is if I was always on, if I was always performing for people. So I either always had to be smart enough to help them with their situations, be good enough at, whatever job I had, um, and go above and beyond in order to be liked at that workplace. And the problem with that is there is a very strong part of me that likes to sometimes chill out and observe. There's a part of me that also likes to be vulnerable. That, not just because that's part of my feminine energy, which is true, but also because I like to share. I like to connect with people, and I am the type of person who likes to go deep in conversation. And I was repressing this part of my personality because I felt like that part of my personality wasn't wanted, that people didn't want to hear me talk about my feelings. People didn't want me to be vulnerable or to ever ask someone for help. So I felt like the only way that I could be liked was to always be that person who had a joke, to always be the person wisecracking, or to always be the person who was doing things to make other people happy, to please others. And as I kept in this habit, kept feeling like I always needed to be on, one, I wasn't attracting great relationships because I wasn't fully showing up as myself. I wasn't allowing the real me to come through. Anytime that a man met me, he was only really meeting part of me because I would hide that part from me that was vulnerable. I would hide that part that talked about my feelings. Um, and I was attracted in relationships that, I would get in situations where I was being taken advantage of, or even just where friends, partners, both were constantly leaning on me because I was coming across as the strong one who never showed any feelings. So it was when I started thinking about these patterns in the relationships that I was getting involved in, when I started realizing that the side of me that was vulnerable, the side of me that wanted someone to take care of me, the side of me that wanted someone to listen to me had been repressed because I felt like no one wanted to see that side. When I started making an effort to show that side of me, first of all, the relationships that I had in place, the friends, colleagues, all that, those people didn't think differently of me. They enjoyed seeing that side of me. And I started attracting better relationships too because I was coming from a place that was the real me. I was coming from a place that was authentic. And I was coming from a place where I could actually articulate what I wanted and needed in a relationship. We often talk about people taking advantage of us. And sometimes you need to ask yourself, are people taking advantage of you? Are people treating you badly because, they're a-holes and they're actually treating you badly? Or is this a matter of you don't communicate your needs? And sometimes you might not be communicating your needs because you don't know what your needs are. So, what I would love for you to do today is to take some time and go back to your childhood, go back to the bonds that you formed in childhood. So, we're talking about your parents or your guardians if you weren't raised by your biological mother and father, um, family members, church members, friends in school, especially if, like me, you were a victim of bullying. And think about what behaviors you used to do in order to be liked, um, what you used to do in order to make people want to be around you. And think about what behaviors you started doing less of in order to be liked, in order to be accepted. We all have trauma from our younger years. Some of us, it is big trauma. So, death in the family at an early age, some form of physical abuse or sexual abuse, um, poverty, things like that. There are also other traumas that people tend to dismiss, but also have a profound effect on our lives. So, again, bullying, having to move a lot as a child, if you were, you know, military kid or things like that. So, think about it, particularly when it comes to your parents, but also other relationships as well. What behaviors were you rewarded for? And what behaviors were either punished or dismissed, ignored? Because you may find yourself in a situation where you start to realize that the personality that you say you have, in my case, it was, yeah, I'm just a sarcastic person, or yeah, I'm always a doer, so I'm always doing for people. I always just strive to like put in work. And yes, those things are a part of who I am. I do believe in hard work. I do believe in being a given person to others because I believe that that always comes back. And yes, I think that I have a great sense of humor. My husband may disagree with that, but so I love to crack jokes and all that as well. But there's also very much a part of me that loves to be more vulnerable, that loves to have deep conversations. Um, there's a part of me that loves to be really expressive with my emotions and that understands that, like, I don't believe there's a such thing as good and bad emotions. It is how you manage them. But I don't think angry or frustrated or any of those things are bad. So I was repressing those aspects of myself because I thought that if I showed those aspects of myself, I would not be liked. And it took years of work on myself to realize that that couldn't have been further from the truth. That when I show up as my whole self, however that is, showing up 100% as me is the key to attracting relationships that are aligned with who I am and what my needs are. So, this is what I'm encouraging you to do, to think about um, who you are, what your needs are, and to think about those things in yourself that you felt like you couldn't show to the world. Um, and to really spend some time with thinking about to how you can start to express those sides of your personality, how you can start to show who you really are, not the version of you that you think is going to make friends or impress people. So, that is my thought for today. I really do encourage you to spend some time on that, thinking about what your personality was like when you were a child, um, and what behaviors you have amplified or tried to tamper down over the years. And if you would love any help with working through these issues, with working through your childhood relationships and seeing how they impact your adult relationships, then, I do have space for one-on-one clients right now. So make sure that you DM me and ask about that. But in the meantime, I just want you to know that I love you so much. And I just appreciate you taking the time to watch and to listen. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.